Welcome to the Health and Wellness Show on your VOCM. Now, here's your host, Dr. Mike Wall.
The topic of foraging for our own food has been coming up a lot lately on the show. In our show on gardening, we talked about food security and growing our own food. We also talked about the value of nature for both our physical and mental health. And in our last episode on tourism in the province, we heard about the experts in our area that can show us how to forage safely. You know, there's over 60 edible plants that are found readily in our province, but they arrive at different times and they're found in different places. So to learn more, I drove out to Pooch Cove and Point Seas Guest House to meet up with local farmer and forager Shawn Dawson, who's an expert at running tours on foraging and supplies a lot of our favorite restaurants with local edible plants. The house is located on the edge of the coast with gardens and trails heading down to the water and a historic red barn at the head of the driveway.
Hey! That's Douglas fir, man. That's the famous Douglas fir. He always comes in the woods with me.
That's wicked.
He'll probably follow us along now while we're...
Yeah.
I got some baskets. Should be alright. I'm definitely... my expertise is from food. But food is medicine, so like, you know.
How'd you get into it?
I've always been into it, man. I grew up going up to my nan's on the southern shore, and she used to take me berry picking, and she used to send me out picking dandelions for Sunday dinner, and she'd blanch them all and freeze them for the year and stuff like that. So like up on the southern shore.
Where is the southern shore?
Calvert.
Oh yeah, okay.
Everybody's foraging up there. It's just they don't call it that, you know. Yeah, it's just
food.
the way of life. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to learn how to. The dandelions is a big thing because my entire lawn is dandelions, so I want to know.
Oh, utilize them, man. The best way to get back at the weeds is to eat them. Like people spend their whole existence all summer getting rid of the dandelions, but.
Oh, that's good.
My favorite plant, man.
Well, I have a farm in my front yard.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone has a farm in their backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do?
We'll go around and just pick some of the greens and some of the spring shoots that are coming out, but they're happening a lot faster this year actually because the few days of sun and a little bit of rain is getting everything to pop.
Yeah, it's got to be seasonal, right? Like, I mean, you know, there's different things that are inherent to us that I know would come out in the fall. Like, of course, berries right in the fall. But like this time of year, there's something. Like, what's this time of year?
Like right up until the frost broke. When the frost broke, right up until now, like we were picking down here, we're picking nettles. As you see here, we got the stinging nettle. Yeah. Which is like super good for you. It's really it's full of antioxidants and it's a really good source of iron.
So how do you eat it? So
this is gonna sting you if you touch it. Like it's got all these little tiny hairs are all. They'll all sting when you touch. Yeah. But I just picked so much of them that no sting. But you eat it like any way you would prepare spinach. So any type of light steam or any cooking this at all will take away from the sting. That's cool. So my favorite way to cook it is pesto. So you just make a pesto with and
pine nuts or something?
No, instead of pine nuts are so expensive. Yeah. You just use sunflower seed or any nut, pumpkin seed or seeds or nuts or anything like that. If you toast them all, they all taste relatively like pine nuts. Oh yeah. So I just use sunflower seeds, toast them, and then I blanch these for 30 seconds. Put them into ice cold baths so they'll keep the green, so they'll stop cooking. Yeah. And then I just mash them up into pesto mortar with garlic and then cheese, olive oil.
And you get wicked healthy thing for sauces or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. It's really good in the kitchen, but we have fresh tea here all spring with this. So every day we're drinking sting nettle tea. Elka, the lady you just met, she draws them for the whole winter, so she'll have nettle tea all winter long. Wow. We make a cream and nettle soup down here, which is really, really good. Probably one of my favorite ways to have it too. So it's really versatile. If you pick them when they're younger, they're better. They're like the more tender shoots. These are starting to get bigger now, but they're still perfect to use. Huh. And they're everywhere if you find them. Any nitrogen-rich area, so like any farm, any old chicken coop, next to wharfs, you're going to find nettles everywhere. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a show recently with Ross Travers, and he was talking about making the soil better and adding nitrogen and all that stuff that needs to be done. So that's funny to be more around areas like this with farming. This place. So tell me about this spot right here, because we are on the ocean right now. It's stunning. Yep. We're in Pooch Cove, and there's a farm like literally on the cliff. Checking out.
So we're at Point Seas Guest House. It's a bed and breakfast ran by my friend Elka. She's been here for 30 years, and she was one of the creators of the East Coast Trail. Like there was a group of them that got together and and made it happen. So her business is all related to people coming from Europe and the States and things like that, which is, we're feeling the effect of it now. No guests this year. Yeah. But they come and hike the East Coast Trail. She drops them off at one point, and then they'll hike so far, and she'll pick them up in the evening, take them back, make them food. They'll sleep, and she'll drop them off somewhere else in the morning. And she got 3 other partners along the East Coast Trail that they'll do it. So eventually it'll take them a week or 2, and they'll get through the whole East Coast Trail. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
well, that's something for us Newfoundlanders to do this year now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure, man. Like I said, everyone's finally starting to explore the trail. Like locally, no one ever used it, but now people are actually getting out, and it's one of the very positive things about this whole mess, that people are getting outside more. Yeah, people are more interested in what we're talking about here, foraging food. You're going to see so many victory gardens this year. Yeah, people growing it. Yeah, there's a lot of good going to come out of this, which is crazy to say. But
you're doing a cookbook and all sorts of stuff. How'd you get into this? Like, what's your background?
Well, I've like I said, like I grew up on the Southern Shore. My nan would have me picking berries and dandelion greens and everything since I was a kid. So without knowing, I've always been into it. Me and my brother would spend like all our time on the beach picking mussels and picking plums from the neighbors and things like that. So without knowing, I've always been into it. But I started growing vegetables. I moved into Battery, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I started growing tomatoes and peppers and selling them to the restaurants and the farmers markets. So I got to meet all those guys, and they found out like I was a big mushroom nerd. Yeah. So they were like, "Oh man, can you get us mushrooms?" So I started bringing in wild mushrooms all the time. Yeah. And I was like, "Man, do you guys do dandelions and nettles and all this thing?" So it kind of just spiraled into it. I've been a gardener and landscaper since I was a teenager, so I've been hauling these things out of people's gardens. You're right. For so long, and I just always knew there was so much health benefits, and I've always cooked with these things, and I don't know, it's inherent. Yeah.
That's cool. Sure. Let's go check out some more of these things then.
Yeah.
You got pigs, you got goats and chickens.
Yeah, we're trying to be a little bit more self-sufficient.
Well, food security is a big thing, right?
Huge thing, and like during this whole thing, the only people that profit were like the grocery stores and things like that. So it's like, and then they're threatening to take food, like the supply of food to the island and stuff. So like we have so much here. We got like so much untouched woods and beaches
and good farmland too, right? Oh, there they are. Yeah. Oh my God. Adorable.
This is bologna.
Oh, hey, bologna.
Hey, buddy.
Amazing.
That's his sister Salami there.
That's appropriate names.
Yeah, I've never raised anything to eat it. I've raised ducks and chickens, and I've been helping Elk out with the goats here for years. Yeah. Yeah, like look at the size of those ears.
They're adorable.
Yeah, man.
Jeez, I saw pig one time in Vietnam, and it was like literally the size of a rhino. Oh. Absolutely massive. Wow. I couldn't believe it. It was so big. They're cute.
Yeah. So we fenced in this area. Elka's idea to because pigs will take everything right down to the roots.
Yeah, right.
We got so much grass and nettles and everything here, and this used to be an old duck and geese pond. Yep. So we're going to get the main reason wasn't for food. We were going to get them to come in and take it down to the ground, take all the roots down, and then next year we'll get in ducks and geese and that's awesome. All that type of thing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. There's a lot of land here.
Yeah. But I'll show you some more. Anytime you disturb a piece of land, you start getting weeds come back to try to restore the earth. Like try to give it the nutrients it needs to come back to grass and eventually forth. So like if you anywhere, like we're talking about, there's nettles everywhere here.
Tons of nettles.
This right here is probably St. John's most hated weed, next to the Japanese knotweed, but this is goutweed. Okay. So if you live downtown or anything like that, a lot of people have these in their gardens everywhere. They curse on their neighbors. They call it neighbor weed because if your neighbor has it, you has it. But it's actually really, really good for you. And in the spring, it's starting to get a little bit tough now. Like as you let it age, it'll get tougher. Yeah. But you still steam it as a green. But early in the season, it's really peppery, so you just have it as a salad green. You can, like I said, steam greens. You can add it to quiches or make pestos with it as well.
Can I eat it now?
Yeah, for sure. It's really peppery. It's going to be a bit more tough, but you definitely get the peppery taste.
Wow.
Hi, Chanterelle. There's my cat Chanterelle.
Nice.
Follows me around.
That's good.
It's good, hey? And
super tasty.
People hate it. In the mainland, people call it ground elder. So, like, it sounds a bit more palatable than goutweed.
Yeah, goutweed,
yeah. You know, here...
Gives you a painful foot condition.
And here you got thistle coming up. Not something that I eat, but it is an edible. And there are some really good medicinal properties about it. But you You see here is all full of thorns.
Yeah.
But it's good for other things too, like people make paper and rope out of it, and it's just another garden and a weed coming up that people hate.
Well, yeah, they're kind of visitors to your garden.
All right, we'll walk around the coastline there and pick a few things.
Cool.
So like I was saying, the restaurants are finally opening now, thank God, and everybody's calling me trying to get some what's in season right now.
Well, if you look at shows like Chef's Table and stuff, every single person they feature, and this is even when Anthony Bourdain came to town.
Yep.
They're looking at, like, they really value the people that are using the local ingredients to make food.
For sure.
Like, almost every one of those chefs are experts in their own area's food.
It is, man. Yeah. They inspire me so much to go out and learn more every year, like pick more food, find out what's here on the island that they can eat. And some people would just call them famine food for years, but these guys are so passionate about it that they're making all these amazing dishes out of things that people are just walking over every day.
Well, I think that's part of this thing. So the Health and Wellness Show, we're trying to encourage people to eat healthier, but also be creative and try things that are different. And I think this is an opportunity for people to try things that they never have from home, and then it forces you to learn how to cook in a different way.
Yeah, for sure. Big Kitchen, way more passionate about cooking. Like, if you go to the grocery store, you tend to buy your favorite ingredients all the time.
Yeah.
But if you get really into picking wild food, you're harvesting what's coming in season, and it's constantly changing. So you're constantly getting all these nutrients that you never would get by just eating the same food all the time.
Yeah.
So we'll head down to the coastline now and see what we can find.
Perfect. Sounds good. We're going to head to a break, but we'll be right back with farmer and forager Shawn Dawson.
The Health and Wellness Show will be right back on your VOCM. Now back to Dr. Mike Wall. This is the Health and Wellness Show on your VOCM.
So we're here in the vegetable garden, which is, like I said, as soon as you disturb an area, you get a lot of weeds come up. But a lot of people curse on them, but you may as well embrace them. So here's dandelions coming up everywhere, which you weed and eat at the same time. But this dandelions are definitely my favorite plant. Early in the spring, you eat these greens.
Yeah,
really easy to identify. They got these jagged edges and an arrowhead shape to the top. So you see this one's just a young one coming up. They get really bitter as they get to flower.
Okay.
So you really want to catch them early in the spring or before they flower.
Yep.
So we've been eating salads with these for like a month and a half now. They're so good.
Do you have to prepare them any certain way?
You can eat them fresh, like we just have them with salads, or you can steam them like my grandmother used to do and cook them with their salt meat and all that stuff for like as greens as you would have, or like same as turnip tops.
Are these anything hard in your stomach? Like
a lot of wild foods you do with moderation until you get used to them. Like a lot of them are laxatives. Dandelion's actually a diuretic, so like you don't want to just overwhelm it if you're just used to eating arugula from the grocery store for your whole life. So take it with moderation, but pretty much we eat these every single day, and it's just good about it. It's so good, man.
Yeah, I just had some. It's it's kind of peppery. It's more fibery. Like it's a sturdy green. It's a mix like kale and lettuce. Yeah,
for sure. That's definitely a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
And you can make the same thing. You can make soups or quiches, or you just have it fresh. But you want to catch it before it goes to flour, and if it does go to flour, you can do multiple boils, and if you're going to blanch it to put it away or anything.
So somebody's listening to this, they're like, I got dandelions all over my yard, right?
Yep.
But what if they put like fertilizer and like traditional turf builder stuff and all that stuff? Would you still eat it, or would you watch out?
No, you definitely want to stay away from if you're getting these commercial fertilizers and things. Like if you're just using something like 6-12-12 on your lawn, like you'll be fine. But I don't know. We don't fertilize the lawn around here. You know, if you're going organic, it's no problem. But it's no. Even if you are doing that, it's no issue to find dandelions.
Yeah, right. Of course, exactly. Just anywhere. Just go to.
Sure.
What about so like safety stuff? Like I want to get into foraging and going around and looking at these things. Like, how do you learn? You had a grandmother and you grew up in a place that had it, but like, is there a place people can learn how to do it safely?
For sure, man. The Boulder Books, the company that I'm writing a book for now, they have a book out, Newfoundland Edible Plants, which is a good way to start. It's a really good book. There's so much information online. There's so much information now that no one should ever eat something before they positively know what it is.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing. But going out with someone that that has a bit of experience helps.
Yeah.
Listening to things like this, just if you want to get in
and be safe.
Be safe.
Have you ever had a bad experience eating the wrong thing?
No, man, I never. No, I never have. I've heard a lot of experiences of people, like, even this year, I've had so many people, I guess people are getting into foraging, sending me pictures of fiddleheads that they picked. Be like, oh, I picked these fiddleheads, and they're all going out picking brackens, which are carcinogenic.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, if you ate them over a long period of time, you could get pretty sick. And even if you, I know a good friend of mine was out fishing one time, and he just fried them in the pan and got really, really ill. Oh. So even, like, the ostrich ferns, which grow here more commonly on the West Coast, you really want to boil them before you eat them. So, yeah, there is you definitely want to take it with precaution.
Yeah. Okay. That's important for people to know, I think.
For sure.
But with the right stuff, some awesome foods that taste good and...
Yeah. But, back to the dandelions.
Yeah.
A lot of people say this is what saved Newfoundlanders years ago from scurvy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because this is like after a long, cold winter with nothing much around besides what you have in your root cellar.
Yeah.
This is one of the first greens that Newfoundlanders would pick when they pop up in the spring. So they'd eat a lot of it, and it's such a good source of vitamin C.
It is.
And a lot of other things that you would replenish yourself over the winter.
Who would have thought of that?
Yeah, but the dandelion is so cool because you can harvest, like I said, the greens. These flower buds you see here.
Yeah,
they're not open yet.
Yep.
When they're really young, before the stem comes up, I harvest those and just use them as peas. You just steam them.
No way.
Yeah, and right now, like the flower buds like this, before it opens, you can make a really nice caper out of it.
Cool.
So you just make a really saltwater brine, and you lacto ferment them, and they're absolutely delicious.
There's a lot of like pickling and stuff like that going on with this stuff too, right?
Yeah, man, that's what makes it so cool. Like you said it inspires you to go outside your comfort zone. Like, and you're already picking something you wouldn't normally eat, so may as well try to make some pretty cool things. You
just named like 6 different ways to use a dandelion.
Yeah, and the root is another really good part. Like people use it for liver problems and things like that, but it's a really good coffee substitute if you didn't want to be drinking caffeine all the time. You just harvest the roots, even hollowing up here without breaking them. Yeah. So shovel's a really good way to do it.
Yes, right. I think I saw something right back here. Here, I'm on one. Garden tools is when you need them.
Right? Yeah, just harvest the root. And they're pretty dirty.
Oh, yeah.
You just harvest a bunch at once, then you put them in a bucket of water, and you let them sit there. And you clean them off and dry them, and you roast them in the oven with the door open.
Yeah.
And you do that until your house starts to smell like chicory, and these snap really easy.
Yeah.
And then you just run them through your coffee grinder, and they taste very similar to chicory and coffee.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good.
Who would have thought of that? 6 things.
Yeah.
Dandelion.
The dandelion. What else we got around here? You're stepping on some, this is sorrel.
Right.
So this is when we were camping that time. I got you to taste this one. It tastes like lemon.
Yeah.
So this is sheep sorrel. There's 3 different types you can find around here. It's got a really lemony taste to it. It goes really good with sauces for fish or anything like that.
That's amazing.
This is the smaller one, and it probably got the most bite to it. I've read that's really good for digestion and things like that. But like you were saying, be wary of things you're picking. It has oxalic acid.
Yes.
So that's what gives it that sharp taste.
Right.
But you'd have to eat so much of it for it to do any type of damage or anything like that. So you wouldn't want to just only eat that all the time.
Yeah, you throw it into something though.
Yeah, you throw it in, or you could make a sauce of it. But I like using it as in the Caesar salads as like the lemony taste.
Oh yeah.
For the foraging tours we do at the grounds for years, we were making a lemonade, which with no lemons, that was like the lemon taste. We just dry that, make tea, and it would really have a nice lemony taste.
Yeah, that surprised me when you're like, just eat this. You're just sitting there, you're like, hey, this is try this, and I was like, are you sure? I trust you.
But here we got yarrow.
Yeah.
So it kind of looks like a fennel leaf or something like that. But they got really nice flowers as they come out. But right now, before the flowers come out, they're quite palatable. They're really nice in salads. Got a really herby taste right now.
And what's this one called again?
Yarrow.
Yarrow.
Yeah, you can find it everywhere. Here's a nice example of it. Nice.
That's almost like parsley.
Yeah, it tastes similar now. It'll get bitter as it goes on, but this one you can find everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's got the woody sort of cedary thing going on.
Yep.
Wow. It's amazing. You got these beds of vegetables here,
yeah,
and we haven't gone near them.
No, I'm more interested in what's growing around them.
Awesome. So this is a bed and breakfast here too?
Yeah, it's a bed and breakfast for the hikers of the East Coast Trail.
Yeah.
So she's got a hiking program.
I love that concept because I did the thing in Peru where you just hike from lodge to lodge.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, but it's such spans that they got to kind of drive them.
Yeah.
So it's not on the way. There's definitely a better version of the sorrel. I just got the sheep sorrel. I just got you to taste. Nice looking greens. Really easy to identify. Again, really arrow-shaped top, and you got these little lobes coming off the end.
Yeah.
So that's a really good identifying feature.
Okay. Yeah.
That'll give you a real lemon zing. It's much more leaf.
Oh yeah. Unreal.
Yeah, man.
It's lemon.
And we got a bunch of dogberry trees around here. A lot of Newfoundlanders would make dogberry wine when they would come out. All raspberries and wild rose growing around here. We harvest the rose hips a lot in the fall, like after the frost, and they get much sweeter.
I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah, they're really good for you. We'll make a lot of jams, jellies, but a lot of people dry them and make teas.
Right. And so the same sort of thing, like you said before, with the dandelion vitamin C. Like a lot of these foods we can forage have vitamins and different things our diet might be lacking, especially because it's fresh. It comes right out of the garden, right?
Yeah,
or
sure.
right out of the field.
Yeah. No, these things are full of so many different nutrients. Foraging's a very healthy thing to get into.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now more than ever.
Well, actually, okay. So on that, same sort of thing. Like when you're outside and you're foraging.
Yep.
You're obviously walking a lot. And you're obviously present because you got to be staring at the ground. Like, what are the health benefits you see for this for people? Like,
oh man, like you said, it's physically active. You're getting outside. You're constantly picking what's in season, so you're always forcing yourself to get outside. You're eating healthy, which is like the main benefit. If you got a family, you're teaching your family the traditions that kind of been lost in the last two generations. Somehow they just disappeared from people just conveniently eating.
Foraging in the cookie aisle.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, convenience just killed us. But I don't know, like things like this whole pandemic, like people are really thinking more about it, and I just found the younger people these days, like with the farmers market, were just, when I first started going to the market and I started bringing dandelions and fireweed shoots and Japanese nami, people thought I was crazy.
Right.
So like no one was buying that stuff off me besides the restaurants. But now like the everyday home cook are so inspired by these chefs posting things on Instagram that they want to try them, and it's awesome, man. It's such a healthy movement. It
is good. I'm really glad. And we're learning all sorts of new stuff. I mean, so if we're learning to make bread, we might as well learn how to pick some natural foods around us.
Yeah, for sure, man.
That's cool. We're going to do a break, but we'll be right back with farmer and forager Shawn Dawson.
The Health and Wellness Show will be right back on your VOCM. Now back to Dr. Mike Wall. This is the Health and Wellness Show on your VOCM.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here on the coastline of Pooch Cove, and I'm here with Shawn Dawson. He's a farmer and a forager, and he's teaching us everything we need to know about the food that we have right around us here in Newfoundland. Shawn, what do we got here?
So you're looking at here is a spruce tree. So this would be a white spruce. Both white and black spruce work well. And if you see all these young, tender green tips all over the tree, that's the spruce tips. So that's the new growth of the tree for this year. I absolutely love these guys. They you just pick off the tips. They come off like little buds. I just use them. You see, you take the needles off like that. They're really tender. Yeah. I just use them anywhere you would use rosemary. They've got like a nice herbal citrusy flavor. They're really good pickled, candied. You can like candy them. Put them in the oven with like a simple syrup all over them, and they're really good.
Jeez, that's amazing.
They're so good, man, and they're
crazy.
Little vitamin C. They're like buds, man. They're so good for you.
They're fruity.
They're very fruity.
But they taste like evergreen. Like
yeah.
But there's something else in it. It tastes like almost like rhubarb. I don't know. It's got something that's like. I don't know.
It's very versatile in the kitchen because you can use it in like on a dish as rosemary or anything, or you can use it as a dessert as well.
Cool. I'm taking some of those ones.
So the other day I made fruit tip shortbread cookies, which were really, really good. It's super simple to make shortbread cookies, and you just chop up a bunch of these and put them in there, and they give off this really nice citrusy aftertaste.
I love that.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah. So when you're picking these, you see they all got these brown husks on them.
Yeah.
So if you just give the branch a smack,
it'll
just knock all the brown off, and then you just harvest them.
You shell them.
Yeah. So I got to pick a lot of these for the restaurants today. So these are the new growth for this year. So you only want to take a handful or two per tree. There's so many spruce around.
Yeah. Right.
And you can do these with fir tips too. They're out around now too, the balsam fir, but they're not as flavorful. They don't have that citrusy taste. They're very aromatic too, and also very good for you. Yeah. But you can really tell the difference if you just pluck off a needle from last year. Yep. And you try rolling it in your fingers. Yeah. So if it rolls in your fingers, it's spruce. And if it's flat, it's fir. So if it won't roll, it's a fir tree. Huh. So that's a good way to tell. So you try some of them in your goodie basket for later. Wicked. My friend Megan at Pie Pizza, she every year when these come out, she'll make a river mint, which is a wild mint that grows in the river here, and fruit tip pesto pizza. Oh, my favorite pizza for sure.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah. Wicked. All right, let's keep on going.
So what we got here is fireweed shoots. Fireweed is like that plant that kind of looks like it's on the highway a lot. It's next to the ocean a lot. Kind of looks like lupins. It's got a really nice pink flower when it's in bloom. Yeah. It's a really cool plant. It's one of the it gets its name because it's one of the first things that come back after a fire. So it's one of the first things to try to bring the land back. But I call it asparagus of the north. It's just, you kind of treat it like asparagus. You just harvest it, pluck it up. It's really invasive, so you don't need to worry about over picking it. You definitely want to leave lots because it's such a good pollen source for the bees. Right. But I've been picking fireweed from the same spot for 10 years, and it keeps
on coming back. Yeah. It's pretty easy to distinguish too, right? Yeah,
for sure. You see now the leaves are kind of closed. Once they open up, they get these things get more bitter. But right now they're excellent. You just pluck them up, crack off the woody end on the bottom, and fry them up with some butter or olive oil. No way. The pan, and they're delicious. The tops kind of crisp up like a kale chip, and the body kind of gives you like an asparagus. A little bit of an astringent taste, but it's really, really nice.
Let's grab a few of those. I'm going to try some of this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Can I? Nice. You got your own spots too, right? Like, okay, so let's talk, while we're getting down there, let's talk mushrooms, because like that's a huge thing for people. Like, I've seen the shirts.
Restaurants are paying half of what they did when I first started bringing them in mushrooms.
Well, the other thing is, can you overpick? Like you just said about fireweed.
Yeah, mushrooms especially. Yeah. It's like I always leave like 50% of a patch. Like right. Yeah, you really over harvesting is the biggest way. Like people argue like plucking and cutting, all that type of thing, but it's decimating a patch. Like you really want anything, berries, mushrooms, anything. Like mushrooms spread from spores. So if you take out the mushrooms, there's no spores. Right. Berries spread from seeds. There's no animals to eat the berries and poop them out down the road and spread more patches. Yeah. So like you really want to sustainably without taking everything. Like there'd be enough around for everybody, but there's people that go out and think, I can make a bunch of money. I'm going to go out and pick 40 pounds of chanterelles, and then they end up throwing out 20 or something like that. It's just stupid, man.
I got you. So understanding the rules I think is going to be important for
you want to have a bit of etiquette with anything you do. Yeah. Especially with something that's like it's a natural resource that you don't want to disappear, Yeah. For sure.
And it's special and unique to us. Yeah. Good.
So right now we're standing next to a big alder bush. Yeah. Another one a lot of people hate. But I love alder, the invasive species, so you can go out and harvest a lot of it. You definitely want to leave some, because this flower is one of the earliest things for the bees. A lot of people don't know. Oh. So it's one of the earlier pollinators. So you don't want to take them all, but there's so many of it. Yeah, so much of it in Newfoundland. Any trail.
I recognize this one
for sure. Yeah. But the good thing about this that I've discovered in the last few years is that these catkins are full of protein. So like if people are picking these and drying them and use them, you just have to put them in your oven like the dandelion roots with the door open and cracked so it doesn't get full of moisture. Yeah. And dry them until they're brittle. Put them in your coffee grinder or pepper grinder or whatever, and use them as pepper. And they're, especially for vegans or vegetarians or anything, this would be a good one to get into because they're full of protein. Huh. Yeah.
That's awesome. Who would have thought of that?
For sure. But they're really good for smoking meats and things like that as well.
Wow.
So you see here,
yeah,
the bush kind of looks like a blueberry, like a low-lying bush.
Yeah.
A lot of people walk past it because the berry ends up coming underneath, and you won't see them.
Yeah.
But this is a wild hascap berry, or a honeysuckle berry, people call them, and they grow they're very common along the ocean side.
Yep.
So we do have a lot of them here. It's a really nice berry. Yeah, they're really cool. Now we got the blueberries coming up.
Right.
Here.
Yeah.
The past few years we haven't had a great year on blueberries because we haven't had much snow in the winter. But,
we fixed that this year.
Yeah, we fixed that this year. So I'm hoping on a better spring, and then they will ripen the following year. So that's why you always see berries that are unripe and some berries that are ripe different times of the year.
Right. So would this be considered late spring? Or is this summer now?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is almost summer for us. Yeah, we got a little bit of a spring this year for it. Yeah.
Cool.
But, I harvest these a lot. They're a bit tedious to go out and pick a bunch of. I never do that. But if you're just on a hike or you're out picking something else, just pick a few and put them in your pocket or put them in a container, and then bring them home and just leave them out in a bowl on your table or counter and let them dry.
Yeah.
And then you just put them in with your store them and keep collecting them like that. But I use them as my pickling spice in most of my pickles.
Oh, cool.
Like these ivory shoots, I pickle them a lot.
Yeah.
And I'll use that as a pickling spice for it. And really good just crushed with salt or as a spice for moose or any wild game, anything like that.
Jeez, cool.
Yeah,
I remember I was offshore one time and I was talking to one of the guys and we were talking nutrition and he was talking about juniper, and about a month later when he got home I got him back to work and there was a big thing of juniper tea all
nice.
ready for me. I was like, that was nice. It was super thoughtful and it was great. Okay, we're going to keep on heading down the trail here, guys, but I'm here with farmer and forager Shawn Dawson. We'll be right back after this break.
The Health and Wellness Show will be right back on your VOCM. Now back to Dr. Mike Wall. This is the Health and Wellness Show on your VOCM.
So what we got here?
All right, so you see here we got a lot of people call them chocolate pears here in Newfoundland.
Yeah.
A really, really nice berry. When I moved to St. John's when I was in the 5th grade, I used to be picking these on the trails, and everyone used to be telling me they're poisonous. Yeah. And I'd put a bunch in my mouth at once and just didn't chew them up. But I really love these. They're Saskatoon berries or service berries.
Yeah.
I think they're called Saskatoon berries because they're probably one of Saskatoon's only real nice berry, unfortunately, but they're really good. You can harvest the tips. They're gone to flowering now. You can use the flower as an edible flower or anywhere you use cherry blossoms. But the tips, when they first come out, if you pick a couple off and you rub them in your fingers, they kind of smell and taste like marzipan. They got this really interesting flavor, and you can infuse alcohols and things like that, and they give off this crazy flavor. It's really good. But the berries are good for pies, things like that. Some years they'll get a rust on the berry. I don't really know what it is, and it won't be great crops. Last year there wasn't too many berries around, so really like this guy. So I'm hoping we get some. But you can see they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are.
They're just surrounded by Saskatoon berry flowers everywhere.
Yeah.
You got, if you look here, there's a wild crabapple tree. Yep. So you can see there's maybe 5 or 6 in the distance, just all around the coastline. I find a lot of apples anywhere there's old homesteads, anything like that.
So like fruits and stuff like that here. What do we have in Newfoundland for fruits?
Lots, man. Like we got, like I said, we got a lot of berries and things like that. But we got lots of apples. We got a lot of things that were brought by Americans and Europeans that came to settle in Newfoundland. Like I think the Americans brought them when they came for the war and things like that. But the Europeans brought lots of plums, wild hops, things that damsons, things that you can find now that are. There have been no houses there for years, but there's still escape cultivation, and now you can find them.
Yeah, so this place, okay, so we're walking around here. Is this planted, or is this just literally just walking the coast, you're going to find this much?
Man, we're doing a bit of both. Like, if you see here, everywhere's blueberries, it wasn't planted. We got the hascap berries, wasn't planted. Dogberries everywhere, that definitely were not. Alder, that wasn't. But then we got the apples. Service berries weren't planted. Apples were... some of the bigger roses over there were probably planted. So this was definitely a homestead at one time. Yeah. There's apples everywhere.
So it's good soil for it, but like, I mean, from what the few times that we've spent time together, it seems as though you can't go anywhere without something. And so I felt like foraging was something that was going to be, you go and you have to really hunt it out, you get skunked, and you could easily not find anything, but it seems like it's pretty easy to find stuff.
Yeah, man, we're so fortunate to live in Newfoundland where... Like, you know, if we were in Ontario or something, you'd have to drive 2 hours outside of town to go do what we're doing now.
Right, this is 5 minutes.
And everybody owns the land out there. Like, we have a lot of crown land here.
Yeah.
And even coming back to the apples and stuff, like, even the things that are on people's property, like, we're Newfoundlanders. I knock on the door a lot and say, "Sir, can I pick your apples?" And he said, "Geez, I haven't picked those in years. Go right ahead." Like, It's a lot different when you're a kid and you're up raiding the trees and people are kicking you out. And
yeah.
So if you're respectful and, you a lot of times if I do that, I'll offer to give them whatever they want on the harvest or whatever, and you pick it for them.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, it comes back to the etiquette of it all. Just like anything that's kind of an art, it requires an etiquette.
Yeah. Go up to the trail a bit more.
We'll have to see how many steps we get at the end of this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got step counter on?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, man. I've never used one.
It's just on my phone.
To see it sometimes.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. I think that's one of the things we had in our first conversation was talking about your lifestyle, and the way that you farm is different. In a lot of ways that you're not as scheduled and you're more present in nature. Actually, that's a really good lead into like mental health. Like,
yeah, man.
We're by the ocean.
This is
so
good for
we're looking at everything around us. Like we're very intent on it. Like, I'm not really thinking of anything else. Like, for the mental health side of things, what about, like, people are stressed right now? Is there some benefits for that? Like,
oh, for sure. Not to mention you're eating good, but that's a really good point. You're outside. You're in nature. You're doing something to provide food for yourself or your family. I don't know. I can't think of anything better for my mental health.
Yeah.
To be honest, like,
it's gorgeous.
Like you said, you can the time goes by so fast. You can, just not worry about things for a little bit.
Yeah, we've been talking for, well over an hour now. That's and it just kind of flies by, and we've been looking at I think we've gone over about 20 things so far already.
Yeah, man, we got a few things in the basket. So back to being careful.
Yes. Yeah.
Right here we got Queen's Anne lace, which is in the wild carrot family. It is actually this is actually what people call wild carrot. If you haul up the root, there's a big root on it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of things in this family and the plants that look like this are poisonous. So like you can get into like the hogweed and the giant hogweed and mini hogweed, which is really bad to get into. If you touch that off your skin and then the sun reacts to it, you could get 3rd-degree burns.
Jeez.
So there's like really precautions you want to get into for sure. You can't just go around picking everything you see and start eating it at home. And there's I was talking to Elka this morning about we're talking about the guy here in Newfoundland years ago, a younger guy who ate a monkshood flower. And just one flower killed him.
Jeez.
So like he just picked some flowers and put it on his salad, and now he's not here anymore. So
yeah,
you really got to take this with a.
Well, I think that's why it's so important to go out with somebody who knows what they're doing.
For sure.
And then you can play it safe instead of being like, I think this is that. You go for the ones that are pretty. Like, I know what a dandelion looks like now.
Exactly.
And a blueberry.
So here's one of the other sorrels. This is curly dock. It kind of looks like a little rhubarb plant when it flowers. Really, it's not as lemony as the other sorrels, but it's really good for steaming. It's good for insect bites or sunburns. You can just crush it and get and sting nettle stings as well. Really good for sting nettle stings. Crush it, get the juices out, put them on.
Yep. It's pretty fibrous too, eh?
You see here all this stuff that looks like kind of like a parsley type with the yellow flower. That's buttercup. That's also another toxic plant that you don't want to get confused with something else. So definitely take it there.
You definitely can't tell by looking at it that it's poisonous.
No, not at all.
It looks like parsley.
Yeah.
So you say you provide a lot of restaurants, eh?
Yeah.
Somebody go and taste some of this stuff.
Well, now the restaurants just yesterday, the band left to phase 3, so they're letting like 40% capacity in, I think. So you could support locally and go to any restaurant would help these guys out right now, and anyone like myself, any food producers.
Yeah.
And you get to try what's locally in season. So I would recommend going down to Cito, the restaurant that's at the Alt Hotel now, Tier. Those guys are awesome, and they're buying so much local food. Adelaide Oyster House, they do some awesome things. They're always using local products. Any of them really that are open. Yeah. The Newfoundland Sausage Company down there is
those guys
selling a lot of stuff for people now in this crazy times when it's really hard to sell your product.
Yep.
So just any way you can support a local food producer, go out there and do it.
I love that.
Yeah.
We should be. And we've got it. So we're going in the barn here.
Yeah, man. Meet the girls.
Hi, ladies.
Hi. Hi, Patty. Hi, Rhubarb.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Got goats?
Yeah, so these are the triplets. When I first came down last year, they Elka bred them because she used to make like milk and cheese and all that stuff here.
Yeah.
But I got real busy with bed and breakfast. But we got these guys babies, and next year we'll breed them and then start milking them.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's Jenny. She's Elka's oldest goat here. She's 13.
Wow.
This is Sunny. She's 4. This is her daughter Summer.
Yeah.
That one you got there is Polly. This is Patty and Rhubarb.
They're so friendly.
Oh man, they lost their mom after birth, so we had to bottle feed the triplets for the first few months. So they're so good with people, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of other goats, they're so anxious that you go to touch them, they'll just spook off. But
not these guys.
No man, dude.
Are they coming over? They want the
with
pets.
them and stuff. Like people are coming out there jumping all over them.
Yoga goats.
Yeah, man.
That's good.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you got roosters and chickens?
We got 2 roosters, 2 busy roosters. We got about 28 chickens. So and there's 2 roosters that are just constantly doing their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take you upstairs where they lay all the eggs.
This is cool. Climbing the ladder here, get to the hayloft.
Yep, the hayloft.
Oh yeah. Hold it.
Home with some nice eggs here.
No way.
Jeez. There's the nesting boxes I built them.
Jeez, those are
still
cool.
warm, man.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Farm to table.
Yeah, so
that's a big movement too, eh? Farm to table stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It's huge. But, yeah, man, everyone, if they have the opportunity to be a little bit more self-sufficient, like now's a great time to get into it.
What a cool spot. I mean, this has got everything. You got all the food sources. You got chickens, you got goats, you got berries, you got a formal garden that we didn't even go near.
Yeah, for sure. We got that. We're restoring the old garden here, man. Like I said, planting a lot of fruit and vegetables.
So, Shawn, we're wrapping up here now, but this has been super interesting. I couldn't believe how many different things we found. Like, what would you tell people about the benefits for health for foraging?
Well, like I said, I've grown up being into this without knowing, so I've always been doing it. And my passion with this is really in food, like cooking and eating these things. But food is medicine, so like I know I can speak for that. This by eating like this really makes me feel good. So like if I eat something greasy or something now or fast food, like it really makes you not feel so hot. So it's super good for your mental health, for your body, for your soul.
Yeah, and I think we all need a little bit of it these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks so much for taking me around.
Yeah, no sweat, my brother.
It's been a great time. A big thanks to Shawn for taking me around. It was a super fun experience, and for those of you who were wondering, we got our 10,000 steps in. If you're interested in foraging, you can find Shawn on Instagram at FlossmanDandyCabbage for lots of tips and ideas of what's out there for foraging. Also, Food First NL recommends that you pick up one of several local guidebooks to take with you each time you collect edible wild plants. When looking for the right guidebook, look for ones with multiple identification photos or line drawings of more than one part of the plants. The guidebooks which note which plants are edible are particularly useful. It's also recommended that you take one guidebook with you on the trail and then use other guidebooks to double check at home before eating new plants. Experienced foragers have recommended confirming new plants in as many as 3 guidebooks or with local experts like Shawn before eating something unfamiliar. Well, that's our show this week. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Wall. We'll see you again next week for another episode of the Health and Wellness Show on your VOCM.